acne was my symptom, the acute cystic acne. But for me, like many others, they start pretty early. I've seen like around 9 or 10. For me, it was late teens, around 19 and 20 is when it actually started happening. And again, going from one dermatologist to another, and they were giving me different antibiotics to the point where I wreck my gut, and it just doesn't help. It comes back with vengeance, and you know that a lot of the sufferers know that they will go for some time and then they'll come back with vengeance. It left me constipated, really bad constipated for most of the time. Like most of my 20s I've been constipated. My gut health had really become a wreck, and my immunity had gone down. So everything that was not supposed to happen. And again, because being an acne sufferer, I had an social anxiety. I don't want to go out, things like this. Is was the time when I started thinking about, if this is not working, is this going to be for lifelong? How is it going to work? And I started searching, and I always say that Dr. Google does help at some limit for and obviously talked about improving your lifestyle, exercising, how's the gut brain axis, stress, and things like this that I started implementing, and supplements, basic. Having said that, it had never gone away because it had improved but not gone away. And then I was on DIM for very long because of my own research. That really helped me because now I connect the dots, because I can run tests and things like this, that my methylation and all of that isn't working well. So I was holding up to a lot of estrogen. Also because I had PCOD and then I had my first miscarriage. And all of that makes sense now to me, that why I was going through all of that, and a lot of mood swings and bloating, fatigue. Used to forget, and still do. I'm working on that, but it's so much better. I was forgetting things. So acne being my first and most important symptom, because it's the face that you go out with, right? So it really matters, and it was painful cystic acne. Now, hindsight, I was on a DIM supplement that's in, as it comes out of the broccoli extract and things like this, for very long, and it pretty worked pretty well with me, apart from other lifestyle changes and things like this. But at post 35, I realized that wasn't working well with me, and I wasn't sleeping well. It had really lowered my estrogen levels, and that's how I started doing the functional testing, and I got to know so many root causes that we'll talk about more, that was contributing to my acne. And it's not just a disease, it's as Reed says, that the bucket was filling up and it had to come out, and my genetic predisposition is acne. So it would definitely come. Everything that's bothering my body comes out of through my skin. That's the way my body does give signals. So once we fix that, it just works wonder.
I like what you just said there. That's the way that your body gives signals. What I'm about to say, this is not a clinical thing. This is not medical. It's just something I've noticed over the years. I now consider acne what I, again, unmedically, if you will, call a primary symptom. So, what I mean by a primary symptom is it's something that affects a large variety of people. And it does seem to be attributed to our modern stressors that we deal with in today's world. And because of that, it's one of the last symptoms usually to go away. Like you could maybe be healed of another disease or at least don't have the symptoms, but yet you still deal with acne. Like I tell you all the, or I tell people all the time, right? I had 7 different diagnosed conditions. I was healing things that were like way more severe, at least medically speaking, than acne, but acne was the last one to ever get better out of those 7. So another example of primary symptoms, in my opinion, would be like certain gut issues, headaches. These are things that are affecting so many people. And since there's so many aspects that are contributing to a primary symptom, then you can never get it figured out, or you're playing guessing games the whole time. And it gets very confusing and discouraging. One question I wanted to ask you, because I always like to ask something along these lines when anyone comes on with acne, or talking about acne rather, since especially this started a little bit later for you, would you give any advice now to someone that might be suffering with this? Because you talked about the shame that comes with it. And Sachi, it's a vicious cycle that I don't think people understand unless they've dealt with it. You and I talked about this off air. You don't want to go anywhere. And so guess
Yeah.
what? Stress is causing it, but now you're stressed all the time because you're embarrassed. So what advice would you have for someone that maybe is dealing with this right now?
Yeah, we just talked about there are so many people that are hiding behind in their homes, just like us, when we are going through and feel that it's not going to work out, it's never going to be improved. It is, and I always would recommend the number one advice is there's nothing to hide about. And I am openly talking about it because I feel it should be talked about. There is a there is something not right in your body. What I'm trying to say, there's some function that's not working right in your body. Like for me, it was detoxification, bacterial, and everything is linked, the gut
Mhm.
brain axis. And the functional stream is going to help you. So definitely go visit the functional doctors or functional practitioners, because they would work on the root cause, and they
Mhm.
could be multiple. There could be multiple causes that's creating and triggering your acne that you would feel, but it would really help you for long run, because that's the only way to go.
Mhm.
And there's nothing to shy about or hide about, because this is natural, and there are millions of people like us who are suffering this, and that's why we are here to help. And it,
Yeah.
it works. It works so much better. It's not just your skin healing. You will feel the body healing. Everything's working in symphony. That's what
Yeah.
I